Hello and welcome to a fresh new edition of your favorite program, Science Monitor, a program that keeps you updated on all that is happening in the world of science and technology. First, let us take a look at the headlines. Science and Technology Minister Dr. Jitendra Singh visits the National Physical Laboratory of CSIR in Delhi. Professor from Bhopal, Dr. Satyajit Rath gives a lecture on effect of antibiotics on human health. DRDO successfully test fires medium-range Akash missile. IIT Madras students develop a friendly tricycle for the disabled. And in our special segment In Focus, we shall discuss about e-waste and its serious consequences. And now the news in details. Jitendra Singh, Union Minister of State for Science and Technology and Earth Sciences, recently visited the National Physical Laboratory, a constituent laboratory of the Council of Scientific and Industrial Research, that is CSIR, in the national capital. He also took stock of various scientific activities going on in the lab. Here is a report.
Last week, Honorable Minister of State for Science and Technology, Dr. Jitendra Singh, visited the CSIR's Delhi-based National Physical Laboratory. He was accompanied by Dr. P.S. Ahuja, Director General CSIR. On his visit, he emphasized on the need of using science and technology as a tool for social transformation. He also suggested that children should be encouraged to visit national laboratories like the NPL, which have made decisive contributions to the growth of science and technology in the country. National Physical Laboratory is a constituent laboratory of the Council of Scientific and Industrial Research CSIR, which maintains the standards of SI units in India and is involved in calibration of the national standards of weights and measures. Dr. Singh asked the media to propagate the message to adoption of S&T tools widely, particularly to the youth of the country, so that they take up science and technology as a career. The minister, during his visit, listened to the scientific presentations on the current research and development activities of the institute and also interacted with the divisional heads and young scientists. During the presentations, Professor R.C. Budani, Director NPL, highlighted the ongoing programs of NPL in the field of understanding the environmental contaminants over the Indo-Gangetic plains and setting up of research facilities in the Himalayas to study propagation of pollutants.
These days, a debate is going on in the whole world regarding the use and effect of antibiotic medicines. In India too, misuse of antibiotics is an issue of grave concern. Now, this was the topic discussed in length at a conference held in Bhopal on 14th of June. At the conference, Dr. Satyajit Rath, professor at National Institute of Immunology, gave a lecture on effect of antibiotic medicines on human health.
In the recent years, with increasing reports of resistance of the pathogens, concerns regarding the use and abuse of antibiotics have mounted. While the debates on the effectiveness of antibiotics and emergence of drug resistance continues, NGO Eklavya, in order to draw public attention towards this pressing issue, organized a seminar on the topic, Will Antibiotics Become Useless?, on 14 June 2014 in Bhopal, Madhya Pradesh. The talk was delivered by the eminent scientist Professor Satyajit Rath of Department of Immunity and Infection, National Institute of Immunology.
तो जब फंगस बढ़ने लगा तो फंगस की जो कॉलोनी थी उसके इर्द-गिर्द बैक्टीरिया मर गए.
During the seminar, Professor Rath said that development of antibiotics has been a boon, delivering mankind from infectious diseases which could easily spread and assume the form of epidemics. But the thoughtless use of antibiotics is proving to be harmful. Professor Rath drew attention to the prevalent trends in India where patients tend to self-medicate without consulting doctors and indiscriminately use antibiotics meant for treating bacterial infections for diseases like flu caused by viruses. This, along with non-compliance and discontinuation of prescribed course of antibiotics, contributes to development of drug resistance among pathogens. If these trends continue, the day is not far when all the pathogens will grow resistant to all the available antibiotics, thus making treatment of infections impossible. While the government has banned the sale of drugs without proper medical prescriptions, the urgency of the situation also calls for improvement and extension of existing healthcare facilities, better research on antibiotics, and most importantly, creating awareness among the people regarding this issue.
DRDO or Defence Research and Development Organization successfully test-fired the medium-range surface-to-air missile Akash on Wednesday from a defence base in Odisha. The supersonic missile Akash intercepted a very small, unmanned, fast-moving bunchy aerial vehicle at 30-meter altitude above the sea level. Here are the details.
India on 18 June successfully test-fired its surface-to-air missile Akash in a very low altitude. This missile, indigenously designed and developed by DRDO with a 27-kilometer range and an effective ceiling of 15 km, was test-fired by the Indian Air Force from the integrated test range of Chandipur in the coastal district of Balasore, 230 km from Bhubaneswar. This flight trial was last among the validation trials being carried out by Army on the first of production models of Akash supersonic missile. Having completed all the development flight tests and user trials, the sophisticated supersonic technology has been successfully transferred to BEL and BDL for production of Akash system for Indian Army and Air Force. Akash, working on the supersonic technology, could intercept the very small, unmanned, fast-moving, bunchy aerial vehicle at 30-meter altitude above sea level. Akash is 700 kilograms all-weather missile and can carry a 60 kg warhead at speeds of up to Mach 2.5.
Persons with disabilities often depend on tricycles for their movement, but these tricycles are not very convenient to use. To address this concern of persons with disabilities, a team from the Engineering Design Department of the Indian Institute of Technology, Madras, has developed a new tricycle. Now, this new tricycle is better at maneuvering and will enable the rider to make sharper turns on the roads. Take a look.
Contributing towards the noble cause of removing the drudgery of the challenged and facilitating easy movement, the Rural Technology Action Group's IIT Madras cell has come up with a novel tricycle prototype ready to hit the market. This novel design aimed to reduce the discomfort associated with currently marketed designs, address the problems like rigid axles and rudimentary brakes of traditional models. The present designs are known to be very unstable, often falling to their sides during sharp turns or on encountering uneven surfaces. The designs are fixed and hence do not fit all body proportions or different kinds of disabilities. The novel design by IIT Madras is optimized to address these issues. The project was initially taken up in 2008 as a part of a coursework in which two teams of students worked on two different conceptual designs of tricycles that improves upon the present designs. RUTAC continued to fund the project after the initial work done by the students, and it was taken up in a project mode by Professor Sadipan Bandyopadhyay in collaboration with Professor Ramanathan, an ex-student of IIT Madras, Mr. Aditya Soni. The team also collaborates with doctors of Christian Medical College, Vellore, to understand the difficulties of the users from a medical perspective.
This device can be adjusted to different body shapes in terms of height, maybe even other dimensions of the body, different types of disabilities. For example, some people might want a leg rest, others do not need a leg rest. From that, the seat position, the back angle, everything is adjustable. For transportation, it is generally very difficult to take the full tricycle from one place to another. It consumes a lot of space, and also often it creates damages to the tricycle itself when it goes in assembly. So, what we have done is that we have created the design in such a manner that it can be taken apart into two major parts, the front and back. There are only two connection points. So, within a few minutes this can be taken out, and then the dimension can be made into half of what you would find in assembly. So, that makes transportation very easy.
Previously, 3 different prototypes of the tricycle have been built and tested. One of these were manufactured at the Worth Trust, Vellore. The present prototype is ready for the market, and WIT-B, the technology business incubator, WIT University, Vellore, is interacting with IITM and Technology Information, Forecasting and Assessment Council to explore the possibilities of getting this product to the actual users. The team has confirmed that a Chennai-based entrepreneur has already expressed willingness to take the initiative forward.
And now our next segment, Science Express, shall take you through an exciting journey that will show you some other scientific activities across the country and the world.
For his outstanding contributions to the field of particle physics, the Indian-origin scientist Professor Tejinder Virdi of Imperial College London has been bestowed with knighthood by the Queen of England, Queen Elizabeth. Professor Virdi is known for his work on Large Hadron Collider using compact muon solenoid. The citation that was awarded along with the title says that Professor Tejinder Virdi is also recognized as a promoter of science and for his contributions towards promotion of education in Asia and Africa. Recently inaugurating the conference on regeneration of rivers, the Road Transport, Highways, Shipping and Rural Development Minister Nitin Jairam Gadkari has announced that the government in coming days plans to plant 2,000 crore trees along the entire 1 lakh kilometer national highways network across the country. Besides this, Mr. Gadkari also stressed on the need of water conservation and the need of building check dams instead of mega projects. He assured that measures were being taken to save Rs 6 lakh crore on import of petrol, diesel and gas by promoting biofuels and preparing roadmaps for cleanliness of Ganga and Yamuna rivers, along with realignment of national highways in Kedarnath region affected by flash floods last year. While true to the predictions, monsoon in India started off on a weak note owing to the effects of El Nino this year. There are growing fears that it could hit India hard. While it was previously forecasted that effect of El Nino in India may be weaker than expected, under the recent speculations of El Nino effect being the strongest in 15 years, it might prove otherwise. However, according to the researchers, the strength and impact this year's El Nino will is yet unknown, and the picture will become clear only in the next month or two, depending on the direction of winds.
Time to take a very short break here. We'll be back with more science news. So stay tuned. Welcome back after the break. You're watching Science Monitor. Now, electronic revolution has made human life a lot easier. In fact, electronics have contributed greatly to the communication revolution. But as we are increasingly using the electronic devices, we are also welcoming unwanted dangers in our lives. That is because the amount of e-waste is increasing day by day and its disposal is becoming a serious issue. So what are the serious consequences of e-waste? Let us know in details in our segment In Focus.
The next time you acquire a new cell phone and decide to carelessly discard your old phone, pause, think. You're contributing to the growing dump of e-waste in the country. In the recent years, with increasing concerns over the rapidly deteriorating environment, management of electronic waste, also known as e-waste, has emerged as a crucial issue. The advancements in science and technology has massively impacted the electronics and communication sector, which in turn has brought endless opportunities and enhanced the quality lives. But this technological revolution has also brought with it the challenge of managing large quantities of hazardous wastes generated from electronic products. Electronic or e-waste describes discarded electrical or electronic devices or parts that has reached the end of its life period and are no longer suitable to serve the intended purpose. This includes wastes from computers and computer accessories, mobiles, television sets, refrigerators, and other electronic items. The electronic scrap components, usually rich in iron, plastic, and steel, also contain contaminants such as lead, cadmium, arsenic, chromium, mercury, beryllium, or brominated flame retardants. The unregulated accumulation of such e-wastes leads to major environmental problems and health hazards. The careless handling of components containing these toxic materials can cause mild to serious health concerns ranging from allergies, poisoning, paralysis, Alzheimer's disease, speech and vision impairment, impotence and neurotoxicity to cancers. The management of e-waste in terms of reuse, resale and refurbishing to industries is a major challenge of today, particularly in developing nations like India. Although no definite official data exists on how such e-waste is generated in India, according to the estimates, it is assumed that 4 lakh tons of electronic waste is generated in India annually. Central Pollution Control Board (CPCB) estimated India's e-waste at 1.47 lakh tons or 0.573 MT per day. These estimates are expected to have crossed 8 lakh tons of waste per year during the past 2 years. Studies in the past show that the 10 largest e-waste generating states include Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh, West Bengal, Delhi, Karnataka, Gujarat, Madhya Pradesh and Punjab. It has been recognized that one of the effective measures of handling e-waste is recycling. Today, the electronic waste recycling business is a large and rapidly expanding industry. Proper recycling and reusing of electronics can help prevent health problems, create jobs, and reduce greenhouse gas emissions. In order to manage e-waste in India, the government opened a large-scale organized e-waste recycling facility, the Atiro Recycling Plant in Roorkee, in January 2010. The Ministry of Environment and Forests has notified the Hazardous Waste Management, Handling and Transboundary Movement Rules 2008 for effective management of hazardous wastes, which includes the e-waste in the country. The Hazardous Waste Rules 2003 cover some important features in Schedule 1, 2 and 3 which cover e-waste. Despite the existence of these legislations and recognized units currently registered with the Government of India, a major part of e-waste recycling in India exists in unorganized sector. It is proven that while unmanaged accumulation of e-waste is a major environmental and health hazard, so is mishandling of the waste and improper recycling. Hence, it is important to integrate the currently unorganized group of e-waste recyclers, reprocessors with the environmentally sound management facilities and create awareness among the public regarding proper use and disposal of electronic products.
Recently, a book titled Indian Mammals, a Field Guide by celebrated wildlife conservator, writer and photographer Vivek Menon was published. Now, this book can prove to be of great interest for the Indian wildlife enthusiasts. This book will not only provide information about different animal species, but also help identifying them easily.
India, one of the richest sources of natural biodiversity, is home to a large species of unique plants and animals. The question is, how aware are we about our fellow species with whom we share the planet, and how much do we recognize them? Do you know that more than 500 species of mammals are found in India? This includes large land mammals like elephant and rhinos and predators like lions, tigers and bears. This group also includes aerial dwellers, monkeys, langurs and squirrels, and underground dwellers like mongoose and hedgehogs. Some of the aquatic animals like the giant whale and dolphins are also mammals. The group also consists of some interesting creatures like bats and anteaters like Indian pangolin. Recently, Mr. Vivek Menon, renowned wildlife conservationist, writer and photographer, has published a book entitled Indian Mammals, a Field Guide. The book, published by Hachette Publications, is a compilation of crucial information on more than 400 species of mammals found across India.
Well, this book is a field guide to Indian mammals. It documents something like 423, all the mammal species we have in India, and therefore gives you at one glance what the variety of biodiversity we have in terms of mammalian fauns. India is known as the land of the tiger. India is known for the fact that elephant is our national heritage animal. But we don't know about the smaller life that exists, whether it's pangolins or rats or bats, or creatures of the sea, whales and dolphins, or creatures of the mountains, certain elusive cats like snow leopard or clouded leopard. So we are a vast country with a number of wildlife forms in it, and the common man or even the professional sees only one very small part of it. So this book attempts to document all of them.
This illustrated edition with photographs of the organisms along with charts and maps showing the distribution can prove an interesting read for animal lovers and those interested in wildlife.
The content of this book is contemporary. This is much more than a field guide. If you go through it, it has got descriptions of groups of taxa, then genera, and then species individually. So it actually provides much more information about wildlife, about the species, and about groups, about their behavior, about their habits, which a normal field guide probably does not.
The book has a compilation of facts on these organisms and talks about their present status, dangers in the context of existence, and measures needed to protect them. The book, small and cheap with photographs of mammals, is useful for identifying mammals and taking down field notes, and can come handy to those interested in wildlife.
I've had about nearly 30 years now of wandering India's forests in search of animals, not just for this book, but because I've been in the conservation movement for a long time. There are many experiences, and one good thing about this book is it has allowed me, even with about 8 or 10 pages in the whole book, to talk about some of my experiences in terms of field notes. So there are some small field notes there where I tell you some of those experiences of how an elephant once chased me up a machan and kept me up there for many hours at a time.
The book describes in detail about the habitat, lifestyle, and intelligence of elephants. The book also provides a guide on taking field notes on spotting monkeys and langurs, along with identifying animals from their horns and antlers, excreta, and impressions of paws.
It's been produced extremely well, very colorful, very compact in size, and priced appropriately. It's so I think it should encourage a lot of people to actually buy this book and use this book.
The book hence comes as a useful guide towards gaining a basic understanding of wildlife and sparking an interest to explore and understand the same.
And what has been this week's contribution to the history of science? Let us find out in our segment History of Science.
On June 24, 1915, Fred Hoyle, the English astronomer who coined the term Big Bang Theory, was born in Yorkshire, England. He studied mathematics and theoretical physics at University of Cambridge. He worked on the formation of carbon, oxygen, and eventually elements up to iron as a result of fusion of helium nuclei in hotter and older stars. He, along with Hermann Bondi and Thomas Gould, developed steady-state cosmological model which stated that the universe has always remained as it is today. In 2000, he, along with Indian theoretical astrophysicist Jayant V. Narlikar and Geoffrey Burbidge, proposed a quasi-steady state theory. Eminent scientist William Thomas, commonly known as Lord Kelvin, was born on 26th of June 1824 in Belfast, Ireland. He started attending Glasgow University at the age of 10, and in 1845 he graduated from the University of Cambridge. He proposed an absolute scale of temperature and showed that molecular motion stops at minus 273 degrees Celsius. He called this temperature as absolute zero. The temperature scale developed on basis of this discovery came to be known as Kelvin scale. He published more than 600 scientific papers and filed a total of 70 patents. Prasan Chandra Mahalanobis, Indian scientist and applied statistician, was born on 29 June 1893. He is best remembered for the Mahalanobis distance, a statistical measure. He founded the Indian Statistical Institute in Kolkata in 1931. He introduced the concept of pilot surveys and worked on large-scale sample survey. Areas where his studies found application are meteorology, statistics, operation research, and errors in field experimentation. On 29 June 1968, foundation was laid for the Wadia Institute of Himalayan Geology. The institute was started in the Botany Department of Delhi University with the name Institute of Himalayan Geology. In April 1976, the institute shifted to Dehradun and acquired its current name, Wadia Institute of Himalayan Geology, in memory of its founder, Dr. D.N. Wadia. Wadia Institute has established 3 field research stations in the remote areas of the Himalayan region for monitoring and gathering regular information.
So how do you like our program Science Monitor? Well, do send in your comments and suggestions through email. Our email address is news@vigyanprasar.gov.in. You can also send us your suggestions by post. Our postal address is Vigyan Prasar, C24, Qutub Institutional Area, New Delhi 110016. That is all in today's edition of Science Monitor, but we shall meet next week with more dosage of science news and lots of exciting information. Till then, goodbye and take care.